How many times you came to training without any idea of what exactly to do? You scatter the balls on the table and pot them without any sense or order. Any spin, any speed without thinking about the cue ball. You are very distracted and not committed to developing your overall skills. This is one of the worst things you can do in your training. So at this point, we need to ask a question. What should your training looks like and what should you do during it to develop your skills in best possible way? In this lesson, I'm going to show you 3 very important aspects that you should focus on the most during your training sessions. So in this case, please make sure to leave a thumbs up for me and hit the subscribe button to never miss videos like this. First of all, we need to focus on stride stroke. Stride cueing is extremely important during different kinds of shots and significantly impact the quality of your stroke. The key is to hit the cue ball at its center and being able to find the center point. If we will not be able to hit the cue ball at its center, then we apply unintended side spin, which causes the cue ball to deflect from its natural line of the shot and strike the object ball in wrong point. If you are a beginner and you have problem with your strike cueing, then you should start with this simple exercise where only cue ball is in operation. You need to put this ball on the head spot and try to hit it straight on the opposite short rail using center ball. After this hit, you need to stay still and wait until the cue ball after contact with this rail comes back and touch your cue tip again. And this is extremely effective exercise to determine whether we are hitting the cue ball at the center, because any touch of side spin will cause it to go in different direction after contact with rail. In second exercise, you need to use cue ball which is placed once again on the head spot and object ball located in the center point of the table. Your goal is to hit the cue ball with stop shot and strike object ball perfectly straight, which after contact with short rail needs to come back and hit the cue ball again in the center area of the table. And once again, this is perfect way to develop center ball hitting, because any wrong spin or contact with object ball result that we will not be able to make second contact between balls. And if you feel very good with this method, then you can experiment and increase distance between balls by putting object ball on the foot spot. This time, due to increased distance, it is much harder to make second contact between balls, and stride stroke is very important. And another very good way is to apply top spin or backspin and make second contact in top or bottom area of the table. These shots require very high accuracy because we apply more spin, what increases chances that we can make wrong contact. And there is third very effective exercise where this time we need to put a cue ball and object ball on the perfect straight diagonal line of the table in positions as you can see on this graphic. And your goal is to pot object ball and cause the cue ball to stop in place. Just perfect stop shot. Any movements to the left or right and cue ball cannot have any side spin. If you can see that after potting the object ball, cue ball makes any of these movements, then something went wrong. Long straight-in shots are a perfect way to improve your stride stroke, and if you will be able to stop the cue ball in place during this kind of shot, then you are sure that your shot was executed perfectly. Okay, but we can add some difficulty to this exercise. We need to play same stop shot again, but cue ball stays in place, but object ball comes back on the table on the same point where was the cue ball in the first shot. In this exercise, we try to play perfect stop shots and keep the cue ball as close as possible to the straight line of the shot, because if the cue ball moves too far, then in the next shot we will have problem to make another shot, so that the cue ball does not touch the rail, what is illegal in this exercise. Our goal is to make as many shots in a row as possible until we miss or the cue ball hits the rail. The next very important aspect we need to talk about is cue ball control. In my opinion, this is the crucial key to achieve success in billiards and increase your ability to win more racks by precise positioning of the cue ball. The first important thing we need to understand is to always create correct angles which allow us to make our positioning much easier. In my opinion, you should use this exercise where we have cue ball and two object balls, which are placed on the third diamonds one ball away from the long rails. In first shot, we have cue ball in hand and our goal is to put one of these object balls and make position to another one. After each pot, object ball comes back on the table in the same place. And it is very important to keep the cue ball with correct angle to each object ball. You should leave more angle because then we need to use much less speed during positioning for the next ball. Potting is a bit more difficult, but we have much better opportunity to transfer the cue ball to the other side of the table. If we leave very small angle, then we need to use much more speed, which makes our positioning more difficult and in some cases cause mistakes. Try to make your own break and put as many balls in a row as possible, and I am sure that this exercise will significantly help you understand dealing with different angles and speed of the cue ball. But there is another very effective way to improve our cue ball control, and we can improve this aspect using these pull drills. In the first scenario, you need to put all 15 balls in positions as you can see on this graphic. Your goal is to put all 15 balls in a row without any mistake. Of course, you can use rails during positioning, but cue ball cannot touch any other ball. There is no order, so you can play any ball and anywhere you want. And this is perfect exercise to warm up, and you need to make correct decisions and choose correct balls to finish the layout without mistake. In second scenario, you need to put all 15 balls in vertical line of the table in positions as you can see on this graphic. And this time we have similar situation like before, but we need to play these balls in numerical order. This rule forces us to think about each next shot and position, because if we land with the cue ball with wrong angle, then we will not be able to finish this layout. And finally, first scenario, where once again we have 15 balls on the table, but this time arranged in L shape. Same rules like before, but this time we have much less space between balls, and making correct angles is much more important than in two previous exercises. In each of these exercises, we work on cue ball control, but there is one very important aspect that should be mentioned. If you make a mistake, then you should come back to the beginning of exercise. Whoa, wait a second, why? Let me explain by showing the third and last very important aspect of this episode. Dealing with pressure. Very often we play very difficult matches in tournaments and we face pressure situations. We have a huge problem controlling our nerves, which results that we are missing a very important shot. But there is a very effective way where we can build our confidence and ability to deal with pressure situations. So in this case, I prepared for you these 5 popular situations where we need to play common moneyball, but we need to do this in one specific way. We need to put all of these balls from both sides of the table, because we should experience both types of angles. But making this ball once is not an effective way, because we want to learn how to deal with pressure. So in this case, there are 3 steps where we can gradually improve our focus and confidence. In the first step, you need to pot all of these balls 3 times in a row. But if you make a mistake, then you need to come back to the beginning. And trust me that this is extremely effective way to significantly increase your concentration, because you need to be focused to not make any mistake. If you will be able to pot 3 balls in a row, then you can move to the next level where we need to pot 5 balls in a row. And once again, this time we need to make more attempts, what increases our level of concentration, and this time each mistake hurts more than before. The last and most difficult level requires from us to pot 10 balls in a row, and this time we need to deal with maximum concentration, pressure and confidence. For example, if you made 9 balls in a row and you missed the last 10th shot, then you need to come back to the beginning, and this is extremely painful, but the benefits you can gain from this method are very large. This, what we are doing during our practice sessions, is extremely important, and if you pay more attention to these aspects which I showed you in this episode, then I'm sure that you will be able to become a better pool player with very high confidence. If you found this lesson helpful and you appreciate my work, then please consider leaving a thumbs up for me and hit the subscribe button to never miss my new video productions. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next episode. Take care.